two. A 1, 2, 3. You got it. Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Here we go. Take it out. Muffy, baby.
I thought we'd get more applause than some dancers. No dancers.
Maybe they're doing it at home and we just can't see
hope
it.
so.
Huh? Yeah, I think this is one of those videos. Rob, that's beautiful playing, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Woo!
You too.
This is, again, from the same book we played from before, and this is called Muffy from that same era. Yeah. Man, how cool, huh?
I think Muffy might have been the owner of the speakeasy or something. I don't know. What do you
Possibly something like that. You bet. It's from that Chicago gangster days.
think? He had a big fur hat, I think.
That's
I'm not
exactly. It definitely was scary. People didn't
Yeah.
screw with Muffy.
sure. No, you knew better.
Man, playing duets, never more apparent than something like this where we're very exposed. What I talked about earlier, getting that articulation the same and the time and the intonation and the phrasing. Wow, how nice, huh? Plus the solos, how cool. One of the things that you can do with duets, written duets, is what we just did, and that is add solos. I mentioned earlier that, for years I played with other bass players, other musicians, but bass players as well, or included, and we played duets. Well, we always did things like we'd take a part up an octave, or take it down an octave, or play a solo in the middle of it, or all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we'd just take a unison thing and add a harmony of our own choice. You bet. These are the types of things you do to make a song sound fun. Tell me a little bit about your thinking when you solo over something like this. It's a real simple 1-4-5 blues. What are you thinking about?
I was just kind of thinking of, like we were talking earlier, Grant Green and
Blues
and
phrases.
even like a little Red Garland sort of thing at the beginning. I was thinking of one of his. Oh, got my mind now. When he does the.
Nice. Yeah. Of course. Sure.
Just like hammer on the. I don't
Sure,
know if I did that
sure,
in there,
no,
but
you did it.
just
You did it.
thinking
It's
of
cool.
some of those
I got
kind
the
of
same
things.
exact thing as a Grant Green thing. When I did something like, I'll see. No, it wasn't. Nah, I can't remember which one it was now, but I got sort of a Grant Green thing happening there.
When there was another one, this one, the Spiffy Diffy.
Oh, of course,
Well, actually,
of
it could be
course.
any Grant Green
Yeah, but
solo,
that's
but
cool.
yeah.
You bet. Hey, get the gist here. What we're talking about is licks and phrases we've stolen and learned from great players from recordings, transcribing to great players.
Yeah, and I think in addition to having some of the licks and stuff, it just kind of gives you, you have in mind the kind of sound that
Yes.
that you've heard with maybe whatever the tune is, but this particular one you kind of brings up a bunch of those ideas and influences in it, and it's if you've got some vocabulary that you've learned, then you can it'll come out here and there from a lot of from listening. I just remember when you suggested those Grant Green albums, like I Want to Hold Your Hand,
You bet.
and there was a couple other ones in there. What was the just classic? I mean, he plays. He makes his thing work on anything he's on. It doesn't matter who he was playing with. He made his kind of bag of tricks work always. And I always thought that was an incredible lesson in that he played the way he played, but he would always make it fit over no matter who he was playing with. And I think that's
having control of your language, so you can adjust it, manipulate it to fit in the situation you're in. Let me elaborate on that. Sort of, you mentioned it real pointedly, real clear a little bit earlier, and I want to elaborate on it. You said, it sort of reminds you of this recording, or that informs you to do this. Well, that's how you learn to play. You listen. And not just everything. People go, oh man, I listen to thousands of stuff all the time. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about taking a player that turns you on, that you like, and listen to that player. And maybe just a select amount of a small vocabulary, like a small one album's worth, or maybe even just one tune's worth, so much that you start to have that feeling. So when you hear something, it makes your mind bring up, you go, oh, and you recognize the feeling from what you listen to in recordings, and that again informs you, that tells you what to play. Now, of course, you have to have that language, as you mentioned. You have to work on that and transcribe it. It's not just magic. People say, well, I was sort of channeling this person. Well, that might sound good or that might sound bad, depending on if you've got some of their licks down. The truth is at the beginning, we actually just steal their licks and play them over and over and over with recordings. Then later on, after those licks have sunk in, this little environment we create, this musical environment, that then triggers your mind to go, this language would fit there. That's how you do it. Because people ask all the time, well, how do you know, Jim, what to do or when to do this? My ears tell me to do that. And not just from the thin air, but from listening to great recordings, studying them, analyzing them, transcribing them, and learning that language.
That when you were playing that, I was remembering the one of those licks was from Big John Patton.
Oh, of course!
But when you were playing your comping there, it made me think of the organ, and the pedals, that kind of that vibe, that kind of that you hear, and I think that's part of what it is. You get that if you've heard those recordings, it's much more than just the notes. You're thinking of the whole kind of
course,
band kind of sound that could come with it, and that that there's no other way than listening. As you said, one other thing that brought to mind was before you gave me the list of like you've got to get these albums, you've got to get these ones. I had listened to maybe not some of the greatest stuff before that of jazz and thought, I don't know, but when you get the right recordings, which is what Jim was talking about before, it changes everything. Then you're like, okay, I get it. This is the stuff right here. And that's a life changer when you get those and listen to them. So
believe it or not, you can't just sort of go with, the Billboard's top hits, Most of those are commercial-ish, driven top hits kind of thing. It doesn't mean it's bad music, but there's the great recordings. Now again, correct's a funny word, what's good or bad. But no, there are those records that were landmark, that changed the direction of music, that all players listen to and copied and got part of that language from it. That's what Rob's talking about, getting the right recordings. And then, of course, that's how you develop your concept. You listen to them enough that you enjoy doing that one lick. I swear I do this lick all the time. Or in this key, it would be, where about?
You invented that lick, didn't you?
Yeah, I stole that. Exactly. That was mine, man. It was my lick. Red Garland stole that from me.
Yeah.
Sure, that's my lick. Play me a little bit of this blues. I'm going to do that right there.
Sure.
2, 3, 4. That's the one I wanted earlier. I'll do that again. Sure, you notice I just worked with that one little lick. That's a little phrase that just somehow sunk in. I liked it. It grabbed me, so I learned it and played it. And I played it so much that now I play it all over the place. I'm able to do with that one lick what you said about Grant Green. I can play that lick in any song anywhere. I won't say anywhere, but anytime. I just can hear and fit where it should go. And of course, sometimes I change keys with it, but oh man.
That's the command of the language.
Correct.
That
I have command of that little bit of language
it's
right
not the
there.
first time you played that one.
No.
before.
Rob, this is good stuff. What else? Anything else?
No, I think that about covers it as far as listening and playing some duets. And
Beautiful playing, man. Beautiful playing.
you too.
Fired up. Thanks.
Thank you.